Welcome to another Stepping Stone to AAC. Let's give them pumpkin to talk about. We're going to get started with just kind of a who's here today. Cherie and I will start out. I said at the beginning, I'm Heather Prenivo. I'm a speech language pathologist and a training and implementation specialist with PRC Saltillo. And I'm joined by the lovely Cherie.
And I'm Cherie Sayan. I'm also a speech language pathologist and special educator, and I'm a parent of a nonverbal child who uses one of our devices.
Welcome. Let's get started. You often will hear us talk about how learning AAC and using AAC is a journey, and it's a long journey. So these are those first steps to get you going and try to help make it more of a daily routine, introduce it into other activities within your house. And the whole point of tonight is to keep adding on to it. Last week, we had a session that went over some basic expansion of our words that we're using, picking core words. And now tonight, we're going to add on to that. The recording of that class is up on our YouTube channel, and we can show you that at the end if you'd like. The handouts that I mentioned before, we have this organizational tool. We're going to walk through the steps of filling this out together. There's a blank one that you can use along with us, save it, print it later. Also in there is something called a reference tool. This is just a quick way to look back at what we've discussed tonight. And when you're looking at that organization tool and trying to remember what was it that we put here, why did we put this here, as well as if you wanted to share it with your speech therapist, others that are working with your child, it's a great way to share with them. All right, so Cherie, why did we want to do cooking and mealtime?
So we wanted to start with cooking and mealtime, as it's a universal activity, and in most families we do it on a regular basis, and it provides opportunities for talking about things that we're doing on in our homes, and we all come together and have social time, and it provides opportunity to communicate for a variety of reasons. And now we also used our core boards, those laminated paper boards for this, because we were knowing that kids are going to be messy, they're going to get dirty, and it's a time that we often aren't going to have our devices out.
Exactly. And you can speak from experience trying to clean off food and sticky stuff from the devices. Not so fun.
Yeah, I used to have our device out on a regular basis at mealtime, and then after about maybe a month of wiping it down every single time and trying to get all the gook off of the nooks and crannies of our keyboard key guard,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
finally was like, this is ridiculous. We're not going to be using this anymore. And
No,
I love our videos because they're a perfect example of how everything gets very messy during mealtime.
it's perfect. So we are going to watch a video here in a second. And as Cherie mentioned, we have some light tech boards, manual boards in the handouts that you can use if you don't have the device next to you, or in these instances where maybe we don't want to use the device. We want you to use this also as kind of a reference as you're listening to this first video. What are some of the words that you hear Cherie modeling during the video? What are some of the words you're hearing over and over? And some of them are probably going to be on that light tech board, hint, hint. So let's take a listen to this first video. And you can chat in the chat window any of those words that you're hearing her use.
Oh, we're gonna eat our snack. Would you like to eat? Do you like to eat? Do you not like to eat? Or do you like to eat? Or do you like to drink or not drink? Should we eat our nuggets? You want to eat nuggets? Let's eat our nuggets and our pumpkins. Okay, eat. Oh, I like nuggets. I like nuggets. I like peanut butter.
All right. And we are going to be thinking about two things. One, thank you for chatting in the chat window some of those words. Another piece of the handout is something called a pragmatics language stages chart. And pragmatics is just those reasons we communicate or those functions of language. And with that, we want to be thinking about not just requesting things. That is, a fun, easy place to start, but what else can we be doing for our communication or for our language? So we are going to work on the organizational tool and kind of walk through that together. I'm going to toggle over and we're going to fill it out together. Let me just get my handout quick. There we go. So our activity is dinner or meals, right? And what would you say were some of the functions that you heard Cherie using?
So Meredith suggested like.
Oh, perfect. For our core words, yes.
For our core words, like, eat, and drink.
Perfect.
And then we also did not.
Yes. And so one of the things that we could say that she was modeling on, she was commenting on things, right?
Yeah, we were commenting.
I'm just going to highlight on here since I can't circle. We were also negating, right? We were, and I know it's on here and I'm not finding it. So trust me, that is a reason for us to communicate. So that's the first step, right? We go through, we kind of think about, and we're planning ahead on what we're going to do, what we're going to say, what we're going to touch on the board or on the device, so that you're prepared. You're feeling like, hey, I've got some ideas. And so we can target these words. You saw that she was already using those words while we were talking, right? Let's see what the next step is. So Cherie, what do we do with these scripts? We are going to start by asking open-ended questions and use comments when we are trying to model AAC. So those words that we were talking about, those core words.
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself. Thanks.
That's
okay. Chiming in.
That's all right. So yeah, what more can you tell us about the scripts that you're going to write for yourself?
Well, and one of the other things is that we write these scripts to help us out while we're doing it, and we're trying to think about staying one step ahead of our learner, but also knowing that regardless of how prepared we are on this, there's always going to be things that they're going to throw at us that we're not expecting. But this is one way of making sure that we have some preparedness and at least have some idea of where some words are.
Exactly. So if you're a little bit of stress.
Yeah. So if your user is using one word, we want to stay with only like one or two word phrases. We only want to stay like one step ahead of them, not expect that we have to do full sentences.
Perfect. Exactly.
And we can respond back with what they say and maybe expand with one more word.
Perfect. Yes. And sometimes asking questions, we get into a rut. So I love that we talk about using those open-ended questions where we can give them a chance to respond or maybe say something we weren't expecting. So in the chat window, what are questions or comments we could make using the word like? One I usually use, what do you like? Or what would you like?
What would you like?
And sometimes, depending on the level, we
What
might
do
just
you
do like
not
more.
like?
Oh, yeah. What do you not like? Oh, great question, Meredith. On should we practice with the corkboard that looks like your high tack board? So you have vocab builder masking some of your buttons. It's really going to be up to you. If you have the ability to print out the board with just the ones that you have visible, great. Another reason we like having those laminated boards is you could just like use a dry erase marker to highlight the specific words that helps draw the attention and try to tune out some of the other words on the page. So you can try a mixture of both.
And for my son, I mean, one of the things that we do always use the full board, even though he stays in vocab builder because of his vision. But I think it gives him an opportunity to also see where he is in space and start recognizing that there are other words that are going to be around it. I think because it's a static board, it is actually easier for him to manage that than the dynamic device.
As well as I see that you put some comments in there, I like, or you like, or if we wanted to expand, I like it. How about those questions or comments for eat and drink?
What do you eat?
I was going to reuse, what would you like to eat?
Nice.
I love when you can repeat. Repetition with a little bit of variety is probably one of my favorite sayings that I've heard in AAC. And how about comments that we could make? Probably the same as above, right? I eat, or eat more, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Not eat.
Oh, yes.
Matter negation.
Not eat, or maybe not eat it. And yeah, great. Great comment there, Meredith, about sometimes it can feel cluttered or distracted.
Mm-hmm.
The other wanted to piggyback off of what Cherie said as well. Being with that, it's static, and sometimes giving them that opportunity that it's okay if they hit the wrong word because they aren't used to them all being visible, but we can still respond. And sometimes without that voice output, I've had some kids where that was just a little bit easier for them to make that error of hitting the wrong word. Without the voice output on that low tech. Each kid is a little different in their response, though.
You can reuse your first question and say it in the negation. What would you not like?
Yeah. Again,
or I mean, my other question, what do you not like?
Uh-huh. Or what don't you want?
Yeah, what don't you want? What?
Not like.
Not like.
Probably one of my favorite first phrases, even though it's grammatically incorrect. When they learn the power of I don't like it. I not like.
Not like. Yeah.
Or even just not like. And not eat. We have those up there. So you kind of get the idea. We can use that repetition here.
Mm-hmm.
And have those phrases, those words ready. All right, let's go back over to here.
I like the reminders down at the bottom. Remember to state your language right around their language stage.
Yeah, and that can be another level of kind of frustration or overwhelming if they, said I like, and all of a sudden we jump in and model. I like the big spoonful. It's too much for us. It's too much for them, and that's okay. My favorite is going to be remember to give them that wait time. So let them try to respond first. And 10 to 20 seconds feels like an eternity, but
It does.
oftentimes our kiddos need that time to process the information and then find the words. All right, next step, Cherie.
So the next thing we want to do is find those words on our board and we'll highlight them. So we have drink, eat, no and don't, and like. And then eat, like, not, and drink.
I like to
So
always
this
point
is a
out.
unity board.
Yes.
I happen to know that that a lamp board is what this family, Meredith's family, is using.
Oh, perfect. And hopefully, Meredith, you did see the low-tech lamp board in the handouts. We did get those added, but I wasn't sure if it triggered for tonight's class or not.
And they're thinking about exploring Unity. So you get to see here's the Unity 84.
Ta-da. And they're just slightly different, but the nice thing is you see all the same words available.
Yeah.
So
Lots of overlap.
exactly. All right, let's watch another video, and this time we're going to see remodeling.
Oh, we're going to talk about eating and drinking while we have our lunch. We eat and drink, and we can talk about liking what we eat or we don't like. Do you want to eat or drink? Drink. Here's a drink for you. Oops. Drink. You like to drink? You want more drink? That's a good drink. That's a good drink. Do you want to eat or drink? Drink. Ooh, you like that drink. You like that drink. Oh, okay. Do you want to eat or drink? Drink. Hey.
All right.
Oh,
I love that example. Your son is so adorable.
well, and I love that I threw this board at him because he's not familiar with touch chat. And I threw this board at him, and yet he's so familiar with what we're doing with them that he picked up on it really quick. So it was nice to see that versatility can happen.
Right? As well as, you know what? He didn't want to eat anymore, but we wanted to drink. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another reason to have all the words available, because sometimes they might have something else to say.
I was trying to get him to eat, but nope, he had other ideas. And he didn't want to tell me not to anything either.
Best laid plans, right?
Yeah. Just go with the flow.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of core and modeling. We'd like to end things with just having you kind of reflect on what we've discussed tonight and watching those videos. What are some of the questions you still have about modeling with AAC? How are you feeling about adding on to your messages? Or do you have any like personal next steps you're thinking about? We'll put up our contact information as well if you think of a question after tonight. You can always reach out to your local PRC Saltillo AAC consultant as well. I think the big thing is just having a plan, having that low tech available in case things are messy and or lots of water. I had a young lady, we were doing one of those bubble machines, and the high tech held up. However, it was a wee gooey mess. And like you said, trying to get the nooks and crannies.
Meredith pointed out that Unity board is different than the high tech. So the 84 Unity, that's with I think the social on it.
Yeah, some social phrases across that activity row. Yep.
Yep.
Which is going to be similar to a lot of low tech boards. Same with this word power one is based off of word power 60 basic, but we give all the question words and some of those social phrases at the top as well. So it ends up being more buttons. So if you need to, as you mentioned earlier, you could print out, get a printout of your homepage if needed. Yeah. But sometimes it's nice to have some of those social phrases on the fly as well. I have had some teams where they'll use like post-it notes to cover up things, or I had a team teach me, they took a post-it note and cut out a square or a circle in the middle of the paper and then stuck it so that the word they were targeting was the only thing visible under the post-it.
Nice.
To help, again, draw your attention in so you don't have to stop and scan.
Yeah.
That was
and you don't have to print it out again with vocab builder on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.